Yo, what's up, guys? This is Sergio Leggett. I'm the owner of SGP Syndicate, and we're back again for the Black Ops 6 year. And we've got this new podcast that we're trying to do every episode. Also, with the episode, we're going to try to bring in a special guest and try to do this weekly. I'm here with Eileen Rosas and Exceed. Exceed's our special guest for this episode. So, Eileen, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I work as an esports presenter. I travel around the world to chase the best esports tournaments. I have worked with DreamHack, ESL, and the Esports World Cup. Thank you so much for having me. So the first topic is Challengers updates. So far, most org in Challengers have a lot to be excited for, especially for the upcoming season. Treyarch is finally back, and the team composition should be drastically different due to the introduction of the Omni movement. The EWC will bring the top four challengers teams again, so choosing your team has never been more important and stressful this time around. So, what about formal in challengers? What do we know about that?
Okay, so formal and challengers. It could be possible that he might be playing in challengers. It could not. He could be playing with Huke. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, I could be wrong about it, but that's something that was been talked around. So we'll see if that happens. That'll be cool if formal came around. He'll bring a lot of viewership, bring a lot of exposure to challengers. So it'll be interesting to see him play. If he doesn't, it's fine. But like if he does, I mean, this is a cool thing for this year. I can't wait for that if it's true.
Next, we got potential challenger teams. What have we heard so far?
Okay, so first team that I've heard about is maybe Prelude playing with Spart, Dylan Rex, and Capsule. I'm thinking that Prelude and Spart play this year, but I could be wrong about that. And then also we've heard about Fellow possibly playing with Brack, Two Real, and Neptune. Darkseid and Bink, they're ex SGP players. I've heard that they're going to duo it up, and that Bink would love a veteran AR. RCDs, I don't know if this is true or not. This could not. Gunless and Yeez, maybe. Who knows? That's what I've heard around. Could be true, could not. And then finally, I haven't talked to Temp lately, but I've heard that maybe he might be talking with Fire, Assault, or Craze as a possible fourth. Who knows? But that's probably like the potential challenger teams that I've seen so far.
And do you think it's possible that players in challengers might consider this season as the last dance?
Yeah, it's very possible. Temp might consider a last dance for sure. Um, Also, Major Maniac as well is another person I'm thinking in mind. But I think there's a lot of people that might consider it if they don't get the call up to the CDL. I think they might call it quits and decide to do like content creation. I think content creation is like a big thing right now. I think Major also. What was funny was he was linked to the Warzone, doing possibly like pro Warzone. I don't know if that's gonna be true or not, but that's also a possibility as well.
There is Native Gaming and Sin City. We have Native Gaming is rumored to be doing challengers this year. What do we think about that?
For Zin City coming in, pretty cool that he's actually getting into challengers, doing full funding. That's awesome. If we can get more big guys to come in and start supporting challengers, maybe people will focus more on challengers. Maybe we can open up the idea of expansion, you know? So, yeah, that would be pretty cool. And also, you've mentioned native gaming. I mean, that's pretty cool to see native gaming come in to challengers. If I were to take a guess for a challengers player, possibly in the mix for native gaming, I'd probably say Huke. But if they don't do challengers again, like who knows if that's true, but if they do come in, that would be pretty awesome to see a big org like native gaming come in and play challengers.
All right. And I think this is something that I would really want to know. Like going back into the last question, like, is it possible that players and challengers might consider the season as the last dance? Exceed, I want you to tell us what are your opinions on that? Like, have you talked to other pro players? Have they even mentioned that they might change their career like this upcoming season? What have you heard?
I know a lot of challenger players this year have started working jobs in the off season because it's COD's always been a thing that you've been able to be sustainable off of. It's kind of getting to the point where that's not really possible. Everybody's getting a little bit older, and you got jobs and bills to pay for, and so I think there's going to be a lot of people. I've been saying it now the last couple of years, but I really think this is the first year that it's going to be, the year where if you're not winning everything in challengers, you kind of are going to have to hang it up.
What do you think would be a good age to retire from the esports scene?
Whenever you're not winning or in conversation of winning, honestly. To be honest with you, if I was 19 years old and I was competing and I wasn't even close to winning anything, I wouldn't be playing. So I think COD esports is at that point where if you're not in the talks of winning, there's no point of playing.
All right. That's a very good intake. Let's see. So I have a couple of questions for you. So, and for all of us. So, with the emergence of EWC, what is a bigger priority this season? EWC or CDL champs?
I mean, I think they're weighed equally. I mean, you gotta get top 4 at champs to get to EWC in the first place. So, you got to get the job done there. And then obviously with EWC, the prize pool's bigger. You're playing against actual pro teams. I think the pressure's higher, the competition's higher, and so it's a lot more fun. And you get to play on, you get to go to Saudi Arabia. You get to play out there, and it's an amazing experience. But I don't think you can really say that one outweighs the other. If you ask FaZe, they'll say EWC is more important. You ask Optic, they'll say Champs is more important. So it's just kind of one of those things. It's how you look at it individually. For me, I think they are both equally important. So.
Okay. Okay, that's pretty cool. And tell us, how did you start it getting into the scene? Like, what was the thing or the moment that told you, okay, yeah, this is where I want to be?
Ooh, wow. Honestly, I was just playing COD for fun for a long time, and then probably around World War II, I started playing with like an underage team, and it was me, Sib, Mac, and Nero as our underage. We were all like 15 or 16 at the time, I think, and we kind of were just playing, and we were beating a lot of pro teams and top AMs, and so I was kind of just looking at it like I enjoy competing. This is what I've always wanted to do. I've always watched Call of Duty esports growing up, and so it was always my passion. And then, getting the first eye-opening experience of realizing that, hey, I'm actually pretty good at this. I could probably do something with it, and just rolling off of that.
Okay, and were you close in getting the CDL spot this year?
Uh yeah, I was pretty close. Didn't go the way that I wanted it to, but it's whatever. I'm at a point in my career where I feel like I'm the best player in challengers, and I'm just going to come out again at the beginning of this year, prove it again, and we'll see what happens with the changes in the beginning of this year because I think I'll be in the talks again.
Yeah, so speaking of which, like as you can see on the screen, I mean you played with Dylan, Rex, Brack, and Asim for last season. This season now we're kind of jumping ahead, but you're playing with Diamond Con, Fame, and Yuli for this season. So just explain like the process of like switching it up this year.
Yeah, so basically, Kev or Fame has always been someone that I've wanted to play with.
Hmm.
We talked about playing with each other like 3 years in a row, and then he went to the Pro League, and then just different, and then I went to LEG Academy. It was just like kind of wrong timing with it. So me and him were a team of two, and then Connor, Diamond Con, ended up not getting a spot this year, and that was a no-brainer for us. And we were like, hey,
Hmm.
Omni movement is a thing this year. So we had me and Kev. Me and Kev can both run subs, but me and Kev can both also run the flex. So we kind of looked at it as an opportunity to say, hey, Omni movement's happening. I think this game, in my opinion, and this was kind of the main factor behind picking our team, was that game's going to be faster this year. I just refuse to believe that it's not going to be. So we kind of stuck it, and we decided to go with another sub player with Yuli, who's been really good this last year. And I'm not teaming with my FaZe Black boys from last year, and it's nothing against them. Love every single one of those guys. Those guys are all gross, and they all deserve to be in the league. However, I think it's at a point in my career where if I play with the same players, it doesn't necessarily benefit me. Um, I kind of feel like I'm at a spot where I've won with so many different teammates now, and I want to be able to keep doing that and changing around teammates until eventually people get to say, hey, look, this guy's winning with anybody he plays with. We got to give him a shot. So it's nothing against my former teammates. Every single one of those guys are absolutely fucking beasts, and I expect to be battling it out with them this year for sure for the the top spot, and we'll see what happens.
Okay. All right, next question for you, man. Basically, it's the new footstep audio mechanic. Thanks to Microsoft Project Acoustic. How do you feel about that new echo mechanic for Black Ops 6?
Miserable, absolutely miserable.
Yeah,
I mean, it just depends on what Treyarch does with it this year. I mean, if there's actually dead silence that decides to work, then it's not really going to affect us at all.
yeah.
But I mean, we've put CODs the last couple of years where it's just like you get to crank your headset, turn on sound EQ, and you can hear people across the map, and you see it with certain people and certain players when they go to land, they don't perform the same because you don't have a infinite radar in your ears basically the entire time that you're playing. So I mean, we'll see how it plays out. Hopefully, there's dead silence. If there's dead silence, this won't affect us at all.
All right, yeah, sounds good. Last question for you. Do you think it's possible to see you in the squad rep SGP this year?
I guess we'll see.
We'll
I
see.
guess we'll see. We got
Yeah.
what is it? We got 10 days until the game comes out.
Mm-hmm.
So we got 10 days to make a decision, and I guess we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens for sure. Okay. So we got a few more topics to talk about before we end this podcast. One is this one right here. You've got Glow Frosty saying about the real question is how do you make the pro league Reddit the flank, or do you got to be best friends with someone in the league that gives you a handout? Because I think winning in challengers barely matters to anyone making decisions. Who got the answer? Give me the blueprint. It's tough, right? I think, again, we've heard that maybe there might be an expansion after Black Ops 6. I'm praying that so, because there's a lot of good players, like including Exceed here, who haven't been given a spot in the pro league or given a chance to as of late. And I mean, again, yeah, it's the only way to solve this is to add more teams. I think 16 is a sweet number for the CDL. If you want to go more than that, that'll also be amazing as well. But I think just 16 is like the sweet number and definitely can change like this outcome here. Because as you can see from the responses, this has been a resounding issue that's been occurring throughout each season. So hopefully,
Especially now.
Yeah.
Especially now with region locks. You got Falcons and you got Miami, and that's two teams that any North American player or basically most European players can't get on. It's not possible. You don't speak the same language as them. So I mean, Hamza's not wrong. Winning in challengers doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything at all. It's all about your age and whether or not you're friends with people in the league, and that's how it is.
A couple of other teams are announced. I think Exceed was the first team that was announced, or big team that was announced. You also got this team. It's an EU team right here. You've got Vortex, Cobra, Brezzy, and Super. Brezzy not continuing in Surge. That's a pretty strong EU team. You've got some Omid players there as well, and then you also you got Super from 5 Clan Media last season coming in. New dynamic of them. That should be very interesting to see like how that pans out. Next you have Denza's team, which is basically Bance, Harry, and Mythics. Mythics coming over from Omid EU to play with them. Denza and them qualifying for under Genomates to play in the EWC. So this should be a strong EU team as well. You also have Eric Boom, F. Dot, Afro, and Rafi. And again, it's gonna be interesting to see Eric Boom back in EU. He was playing in NA, but his contract with the Heretics ended. So it'll be interesting to see how he performs in the EU setting. We also have this team right here. You've got Thresh, KB Twisted, Rupert, and Cootie. I'm a big fan of KB's Twisted. I think he's pretty good. He was on SGP last year, so it'll be interesting to see that. OG DJ, I thought he was like a Latin player before, so it's interesting to see him as a coach this time around. So let's see how they do. Also some underrated teams here. You've got Eternals, Marco, Cells, and Diff. They played a lot of locals. I saw them at the North Carolina local and the Columbus local. They've been playing pretty decent, so let's see if they can make a splash. You also have Kanwa, Choco, Raprasi, and Sparksy Kev. Sparksy Kev, saw him in Columbus playing under Omit. They beat us. They beat my team of RC's Paul X, Encourage, and Hyde. Sparks, I think, was the MVP for that championship. I'm not sure if I'm right about that, but Sparks Kev, good player. Kawa Choco, they've been teaming up for, it seems like forever. So that duo is sticking for Black Ops 6. And then you got Reprosses, who's a funny character in the scene. I love Reprosses. And then here are just free agents, to close. Here are some free agents that are coming in. You've got Brindy, Velu. These are just all the posts. If you guys haven't seen this already, we're just going to scroll down and just show all of them. Confid, Rohan, Flames, not in the Pro League this time around, doing challengers. Very interesting. Frosty, Mamba, Deceptions, Derek the Goat, U18 are coming in. It's going to be interesting to see how he performs this year. Shoxy, of course, you got encouraged. He's a part of SGP. Interesting, interesting to see how he does. We got some free agent coaches as well. We're just going down here. Looks like Twiz is staying with Clutch Rain, and it also looks like Last Dance looks like it's going to be his last year. So we got Major Maniac, 2Real separating from his Challenger Champs roster, becoming a free agent. And yeah, we just more notables down here. Mohawk coming back, playing Black Ops 6, along with Neptune.
Shout out Mo.
Shout out Mo, yeah.
Money Mo is back.
It's going to be interesting to see how he does. And yeah, here's just some more if you haven't seen these posted yet. And finally, one last thing to talk about, just CDL news. Possibly, I think Major 1 should start pretty early from what I've heard in December. I think if sources are correct, hopefully they are, the Falcons might be hosting the first Major in Vegas in the second week of December. That's where they're planning to. And I've also heard that maybe it might get pushed back. Who knows? But those are the plans that were discussed, I believe. And also, if you got to think about it, if the majors are starting super quick, then that means there might be a possibility of a Pro-Am. And from what I've heard, a Pro-Am might be aligned with a DreamHack event between majors 2 and 3. And also, I heard from some big time intel sources that there's a possibility that there's an EU major. They're planning on trying to make an EU major this year. So EU players, right, for challengers, your org owners, they must be pretty happy about that because it's got to be expensive bringing them over to the NA side. So yeah.
That's crazy.
That is
It'll
crazy.
be good for them, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's intel was told to me yesterday from a very credible source. So hopefully, that'll be interesting to see. If we see London again or Paris, that'd be pretty sick. So yeah, just keep those in mind. That's what I've heard. And yeah, this is the wrap for the first episode. Thank you, Exceed, for coming on board, man, and answering the questions, man. And I know you're gonna fry this year. You're one of the most consistent challenger players. So hopefully you do well and get a league spot, man, because you deserve it. And also, thank you, Eileen Rosas, for coming on board. You'll be seeing her. She's my wingmate for this, and you might see more hosts coming in that'll be coming around consistently. So yeah, if you guys like this episode, please comment, like, and subscribe. It's gonna make these future episodes a lot better for us in the future. And just comment below also on the Twitter post who you would like to see, or YouTube post who you like to see for the next special guest. All right, that's it for us. Thank you. Bye-bye.